Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices, and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down since the powers that be don't not want you, the community, to know the truth. But remember, fam, we will not be silenced. And if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our leaders accountable, make sure you subscribe to our social media platforms. You could subscribe to both of our pages, Frankie Olivo on YouTube, and you can also subscribe to Frankie Olivo TV.com. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube under Frankie Olivo TV to tune in. We will not be silenced, fam. And thank you so much for each and every one of you for your time this morning. How we doing, chat? How we doing? How we doing? Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Yesterday there was a budget committee meeting for the school district. And let me tell you, what an embarrassment, what a mess. I'm not sure if it was Dr. Chavez or the interim CFO, Mary Garza. Unorganized, unprepared. They had the board members do an activity of ranking of what's priority, and oh God, it was a mess. It was a mess. So again, it was just something that didn't look well. Again, the board right now is 6 only, and they have to pass the budget very, very soon. BISD does not look good right now. And I'm just being nice, very nice. And today we will be having a school board meeting where we anticipate that they will appoint a candidate to replace or to fill in the vacant seat of Erasmo Castro. And that is what we will be focusing on today. Today at 5:30, if you're free, make sure you stop by at the BISD boardroom. It's going to get very, very interesting. And we've been talking over and over again how everything that we've been saying these past 2-3 weeks is finally coming into play. Everything that we've been saying has been true. So again, it's interesting to learn that people, even though they try to discredit us, say that, we don't know what we're talking about, in reality, they know that we're spot on. And do we get everything 100% right? No. But at the same time, if there's smoke, there's fire. So again, it will be yes, the meeting today, the board meeting, will be streamed live. You can watch it on the BISD page on Facebook. So again, it's gonna be fireworks today. And today we're gonna focus on who we feel as if should be the person to fill Erasmo Castro's seat. And to me, this is very personal. Very, very personal, because everyone knew the type of person that he was. And again, he was an interesting character. Not everybody liked him, but everybody knew where his heart and his passion was. And that was for the city of Brownsville, and in particular for the BISD school district. We talked yesterday about how we had some interesting characters that are being in consideration for this spot. So today we'll dive a little bit deeper into this saga, into this circus, Hector. which is the BISD replacement. So that is how we will start today's show. We titled our show, "This is who we feel should be appointed for Erasmo's seat." Let's get started.
And I'm made in the 956.
We're made in the 956.
I'm also
Relax.
made in the 956. Join me on Tuesdays as we feature people doing incredible things who are made in the 956.
Made in the 956 is supported by
Alambre.
Ogden Kia.
A Brownsville ISD board seat remains vacant. This after the school board could not come to an agreement on who should fill it. The discussion happened last night during a special meeting. Channel 5's Stephanie Rosales was at the meeting and explains what's next.
I do believe that it is important that we did try to nominate someone.
I'm not going to vote for the election being held in May. I think the voters and the people who are actually going to put their names on the ballot need a little bit more than 25 or 30 days.
A divided school board has led to a time crunch over at Brownsville ISD. As one of the school board of trustees, seats remains empty. The school board has 180 days to fill the vacancy.
I think it's really important for the community to show that we want to bring consensus and we want to appoint. I really want to thank, I believe there was 26 applicants who took the time to put their resumes together.
Brownsville ISD School Board President Daniela Lopez Valdez is hoping the board can come together to appoint someone to the board. During a special board meeting tonight on the agenda, there were two options for the school board to either appoint someone or leave the decision up to voters during the upcoming May special election. Both of those options failed. Board of Trustee Carlos Elizondo does not agree with either and doesn't want to do it in May because it's too soon.
I'm hoping to get the right person here and give them the opportunity to run a successful campaign and get the best individual out there that the community wants to represent them.
Cameron County Elections Administrator Remy Garza says Brownsville ISD School Board has to either appoint or...
That can either occur through the election, which would have to occur on a uniform election day. And as discussed, the one that falls within the 180 days is the May 3rd, 2025 election.
BISD Superintendent Dr. Jesus Chavez says the next steps would be for the board to appoint someone. Another meeting would need to be held. If they don't come up with a decision, TEA would get involved.
That the agency and somebody representing the agency would get involved in the administration and helping the board again move forward with what it needs to do.
If someone is appointed to the board, they would hold the position until the November election. In Brownsville, Stephanie Rosales.
Again, since February, the board has had the task before them to replace the vacant seat, and they have 180 days. They had 180 days in order for them to appoint someone. If they did not appoint anyone, the state would come in. The video that I just showed you is very telling, and we're going to dissect it a little bit more because at the end of the day, we feel as if manipulation by several parties has taken place. And what really bothers me is the idea that individuals have purposely done this with the understanding that they had a plan in mind where they would ultimately get the person that they want to fill that seat. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, BISD right now is on a collision course. We do not have a CFO. The superintendent is on the chopping block. He has been on the chopping block. There is this bond that, depending on what faction, what side, what majority, minority you talk to, well, there's no majority right now. Some are for it, some are against it. This vacancy, whoever gets appointed, is going to change the dynamics of the school board, is going to put a lot of things up for grabs. The superintendent, possibly even the attorneys. We know that Carlos Elizondo wasn't too happy with the attorneys. And again, this to me, ladies and gentlemen, this appointment is very, very personal because you're talking about an individual such as the likes of Erasmo Castro. Say what you want about him. One thing that he was, we can all agree on, he was passionate. And you may have not have liked his approach, his delivery, but one thing that was for certain is he was all about the community. My message to Daniela Lopez Valdez, to the school board is make the right decision. Because ultimately what you're doing is you're replacing somebody to fill in the shoes of an individual that was committed to this city. I find great pride in knowing that he did great things, and he did that for the love of his community. And I'm very proud of that. What has happened these last 2-3 weeks has caused me to freak out, has caused me to question what the hell is going on. Politics, as we all know, is very difficult. And from one day to the next, things change in a New York minute. If you've been following these past 2 weeks, we have been talking about corruption, how individuals are scheming, are doing backroom deals to favor themselves. We stated 2 weeks ago that Martin Sarkis was going to be appointed to PUB and that eventually he was going to get appointed to BISD. And what was going to happen? He was going to resign from PUB because, again, the main honeypot in all this, the $500 million entity is BISD. Imagine the contracts. Imagine all the money. People aren't dumb. They always go for the big thing, right? So again, we've been talking about this. And slowly, after this election on Saturday, this runoff election, everything is falling into play. Now, while people try to discredit me, have been talking bad about my person, I've been saying, oh, Frankie doesn't know anything. Well, no, Frankie knows something. Why? Because even Martin Sarkis admitted, hey, yes, I was offered the BISD spot, but I declined it. Your information is wrong, Frankie. You're wrong. This was 2 weeks ago. And mind you, I learned about this 2 weeks ago. My source said this goes way back, even further. So there's talks of individuals being offered this position, and they all declined it. The only one that said yes was Martin Sarkis. Now, Martin Sarkis does not have no business on BISD. Again, we have a folder ready to go with lots of damning information in regards to his character, in regards to his profession. That's not pretty. He claims that my information is wrong. There's another post, or there's another comment that he made that he wants me to show him the evidence. Hey, where's your proof? Are you sure you want that? The rice is in the pudding. And again, my folder is ready to go. I come before you always with receipts, always with receipts. And that story is going to drop Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what happens tonight. I may even push it back till Monday if he doesn't get elected. But best believe we are going to talk about this man. We are going to talk about this man in detail. Also, we talked about how there was a possibility that someone else was going to be appointed. A relative of Joe Rod. Now, I want you to think about this. Why? Why would individuals select these two characters? It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. When we talk about Joe Rod, God bless his soul, there's a lot of discrepancies. There's a lot of chatter in regards to him owning businesses that had relationships, contracts with the school district. Many people allege that he benefited handsomely from sports equipment, from the $1.4 million, which was the scoreboard, the $1.4 million scoreboard that's at Sam's right now, if I'm not mistaken, which was the biggest at the time. There was debatable. But the likes of Carlos Elizondo, Minerva Peña voted in favor of the $1.4 million scoreboard that was $1 million over the market rate, the price that was out there. Now, mind you, why would a school board pay over $1 million over the market? Because there's a lot of money that needed to go out. A lot of money. What I want to stress to you today, community, is the video that I showed you is very damning. Why? Because the school board, the 6 school board members, they knew they were on the clock. They knew 180 days was coming. If you do not appoint anyone by August, TEA will come in. The state, the governor will come in and appoint a board of managers. Where have we seen this, ladies and gentlemen? In Houston. Here locally, in La Jolla. La Jolla right now got rid of their school board members, got rid of the superintendent. They installed a board of managers. They installed a superintendent. They installed a CFO. They have a new team, and they do not answer to the community. Oh, no. They answer to TEA, and they will look at the books, and once the school district is ready and operating and functioning at the level that the state feels it's ready to give back to the community, then they will allow for elections once again to happen. My argument today before you is that there's manipulation that's been done by Carlos Elizondo and by Daniela Lopez Valdez. Why? Because they knew that once this board member passed away, once Erasmo Castro passed away, they had 180 days. And in that video that I showed you beforehand, Remy Garza, the one in charge of the Cameron County elections, he's very knowledgeable. He came and advised them. Hey, you're on the clock. But what did Carlos Elizondo say? If you do not remember, go back to the video once we're done. He says, oh, no. Why are we going to have an election in May? That's not enough time for the candidates to run a good campaign. No. I'm not comfortable with this. Don't we live in a democracy, ladies and gentlemen, where the will of the people, whatever the people want? Why is Carlos Elizondo? Why is he being the individual that determines who gets what? Why? It doesn't make sense to me. Many individuals have stated to me, and I confirmed this on Saturday, and the Glass Palace was going crazy. My phone was blowing up on Saturday night. Frankie, what do you mean Daniela made a deal with Carlos? What do you mean? You're lying, right? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yesterday's episode, we titled it, Will Daniela Make a Deal with the Devil? The understanding was that Daniela was going to appoint. Again, she's the board president, so she doesn't have to lend the floor to anybody else. She has the word, the first word The idea was that she wasn't going to recognize her board members on any appointments or any nominations that they had. All she was going to do was say, I nominate Martin Sarkis. And guess who was going to second that motion? The devil himself. That was the agreement. As of Saturday, that was the agreement. But what happened since then? Frankie Olivo and Good Morning Brownsville came along. And what did that do? That spooked a lot of people. A lot of people. They're freaking out. What do you mean Daniela Lopez Valdez is going to give us Martin Sarkis? There's no way. There's no way. We talked yesterday about the reasons why we feel as if she is doing this. Because again, her family is going through something very, very serious, a very difficult time in her life. And to the Lopez family, I sympathize with you. I know exactly what you're going through. It's not easy. I spoke yesterday about how I wasn't working. I was between Edinburgh, Brownsville, downtown Brownsville. I had to be there for him. I had to take care of him, and it wasn't easy. The pain and the agony that I saw him in. It hurt. I cried. I was devastated. I never cried in front of him. He always got mad. He never wanted sympathy, but it hurt. Daniela Lopez Valdez and her family is going through this right now. And she probably feels, you know what? Family is more important to me. And it is. Family, politics is second and third after family. Family is the most important thing that we have in this world. And we should treasure it and we should value our family. But what she's also doing is she's protecting the Lopez empire. What she's doing essentially is we made the claim that Carlos Elizondo is going to run against Joey Lopez for Precinct 2 of Cameron County. Was there an agreement made? Was there an understanding that, hey, I'll give you this appointment, but you're not going to run against my father? Could Carlos Elizondo be trusted? What does his track record say? He should not be trusted. He recorded Cesar de Leon and exposed him. My sources. And this comes from the very top, ladies and gentlemen. The very top. And I'm not talking about city. I'm not talking about BISD. I'm talking bigger than that. They told me 2 weeks ago that there was already an agreement back in March, back in April. Well, they weren't going to appoint nobody. That Daniela Lopez Valdez was going to side with Carlos. Now, she's... how do I say this? I want to say this nicely. She thinks we're full of crap. She thinks what Good Morning Brownsville has to say is fantasy. It's not real. It's real. It's very real. She made a deal with the devil. Why? Well, somebody made something very, very interesting that kind of got me, why is this person saying this? On yesterday's show, Hope, I have no idea who Hope is, but thank you for tuning in, Hope. Look what Hope says. And this was yesterday's episode. Look what it says. That they're sharing for someone else. But look what it says. Sharing for someone else. Does he, Carlos Elizondo, Does he have something recording, maybe on the Lopez family, reason why she is jumping ship? And it got me thinking, what could this man have on them? Does he have anything? I don't know. Does he have an audio recording from a recorded phone call, just the likes how he did with Cesar de Leon? Does he have pictures? Does he have text messages? The possibilities are endless. Now, I'm not saying that this is accurate, but maybe there's something there. That there's blackmail. Maybe. And the reason why they're not doing anything about this is because it's all about the empire. It's all about protecting the empire. Who cares about BISD? Her kids don't go to BISD. Maybe that's why they don't care. She's like, I've done what I needed to do. But who should they appoint? Well, they made a big thing about having individuals apply. Am I on the screen? Yeah. All right. And here we have 25 applicants for consideration of appointment to the Board of Trustees. They asked them to apply, to submit your resume. Let us know your qualifications, why you would be a good asset for the school district. I happen to know a few people. I'll go down the list. I know, well, Farley, because of the scandal that broke out at Rivera. And there's a victim saying, hey, Farley, you know who I am. You know what you did. I was scared then, but I have kids now. I'm not scared anymore. And she says, I have pictures, and I posted it. Again, we always come with proof, with receipts, ladies and gentlemen. Even though he said, I'm going to sue you. Sue me for what? There's a victim. So Farley, we know Farley. We know Agustin Anduiza, who I think the world of him. I really do. Who else? Susan for the Corrupt is there. Who else? Marisa Leal, David Willis, attorney. Nel De Rocha. Who else? Katy, Roman Perez. I think Roman served as a professor at one time. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I don't know. Otis Powers. We have the Atkinson clan wanting to get back into BISD. Why? Because that's the only way they make money. And who? The last one, John Shergold. Ladies and gentlemen, they made a big deal about these individuals applying. And what are we hearing? We're hearing that they're not even going to appoint those individuals. Can you imagine that? Tanto guato que hicieron de que apply, no sé qué, for consideration. And the understanding was, we're going to appoint someone that applied. We're hearing that's not the case. We're hearing that it's going to be someone that didn't even apply. Huh. So you mean to tell me that you went through all this process? People submitted their applications. They did as they were required to do. For the board, for Daniel Lopez Valdez to ultimately turn around and say, oh, no, never mind. We're going to appoint these individuals that didn't apply. I have a big problem with that. A big problem. If that's the case, nominate me. You mean to tell me You mean to tell me that these individuals are handpicked to replace Erasmo Castro's seat, an individual that was against corruption? And these two individuals on this screen, God bless Joe Rod's soul. It's a relative of his, a female relative, a niece that is being considered, that they're being handpicked for this. Are y'all serious? Really? You mean to tell me that the likes of Agustin Anduiza, who has, oh God, I don't know, 20 years, 30 years of experience in education, you mean to tell me even, hey, look, even Susan for the Corrupt, Marisa Leal, David Willis, an attorney, Katy, Roman Perez. You mean to tell me that these individuals that I just showed on the screen are better than John Shergold? Are you stupid? Do you know who John Shergold is? And again, the individuals that I named are worthy candidates. I'll admit, they're worthy candidates. Agustin Anduiza, Susan for the Corrupt, Katy, David Willis, Roman Perez, Nelda, a former educator, John Shergold. You mean those people are not better than Martin Sarkis and Joe Rod's niece? Are you serious? Why go through all this hoop and holler and apply y no sé qué? Que... But where did we see this before? Where do we see this, fam? Well, we saw it when the board appointed Dr. Jesus Chavez to be the interim superintendent. And if y'all remember, they stated whoever applies for the interim position for the superintendent will not be considered to be the permanent superintendent. Remember that, fam? Those at the Glass Palace know exactly what I'm talking about. Know exactly what I'm talking about. So what did that cause? That caused people not to apply because they said, you know what? This is just an interim. And the interim isn't going to be considered for the permanent job. So I'm not going to apply now. I'm going to apply later because I want the superintendent position. But what happened? BISD, Daniel Lopez Valdez did an old switcheroo. Once they got Jesus Chavez, Dr. Jesus Chavez, as interim, they said, oh, well, you know, we did say this, that the interim wasn't going to be considered for the finals, for the permanent job, but, you know, we lie and you know how things go, and we heard great things from the community, so, he's going to be the permanent superintendent. And I'm not lying. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all at the Glass Palace. We got good viewership right now. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So the board has this thing of not doing what they initially said they were going to do. And that's very scary. Very scary. Why? Because they're manipulating the process. They're doing what's in their best interest, not the community. Now, again, why did they wait so long? Again, February, Erasmo Castro passes away. God bless his soul. The attorneys were advising them, you have 180 days. If you don't do anything, TA is going to come in. Carlos Elizondo goes on to say, no. We can't have an election in May. I want the candidates to have a campaign. And no. Don't we live in a democracy, ladies and gentlemen, where the will of the people should be respected? Is it? Why is it upon Carlos to decide, no, I do not want an election? Now, again, he's a board member. He has a vote. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, let the people decide who they want to represent them. This was manipulated from the day one, and nobody thought this was going to happen. Why? Because nobody thought that Daniela would do this. Now, I'm being called a liar. She is saying, I would never do that. I would never side with Carlos. But because she feels the heat, people have been calling and blowing up her phone and her dad's phone. Her dad's the one that makes the decisions. There's been manipulation. They knew that they didn't want an election from day one. Why? Because it wasn't convenient for them. They want somebody they can control. They want somebody they can manipulate. Millions and millions of dollars are at stake moving forward. It's a 3-3 lock. If somebody gets the majority, it's over. They want people like them so they can keep things under wraps. They'd rather protect pedos instead of their students and educators. Again, they're not worried about the scandal that's going on at Rivera. They're not worried about a board member using a fake profile to disseminate hate, harassment, to cause adults, men and women, to work in fear. And then we hear that Cindy Elizondo is going to move to veterans to be under her comadre, Norma Jean, who was at Rivera previously, who turned a blind eye to student-teacher relationships. Really? Somebody posted, hey, nothing gets done. If you do something bad at BISD, you get promoted. You get something better, you get moved away. Is this the Catholic Church or what? Is it? And again, this message goes to Farley and Nelda. Y'all applied. Why aren't you being considered? Why didn't Carlos vote for you? Why didn't Carlos nominate you? Why didn't Carlos try to put you on the agenda? Bring me up. We submitted a Freedom of Information request that shows that Carlos Elizondo tried to appoint someone. Martin Sarkis on the board. He tried to get a second, but for whatever reason, it didn't come through. And it's funny how the language now in the board, and I don't have it. Let me bring it up, I guess. The language of the agenda for today's meeting is very interesting because according to my sources, they say that Carlos Elizondo tried to place on the agenda, and I will show you proof once I get it from the information department, from the public information department at BISD. He tried to put on the agenda to put Martin Sarkis on the board. There was a second, but that second got spooked. Why? Because that was the day that Martin Sarkis got his butt beat. And he said, no, 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 no. That person, I'm not going to say, well, I'll say it. Minerva Peña got scared. And she said, this looks kind of funny. This smells funny. Again, we reported that Martin Sarkis got his butt beat by his own family member. I can't find it. But now the language reads totally different in today's agenda item. Today it comes from the super Chavez. It doesn't come from Carlos Elizondo. And we're going to show you the proof that this web of corruption that I've been talking about, bring it up whenever you come across it. There you go. That this web of corruption is real. And everything Good Morning Brownsville and Frankie Olivo has been saying is spot on. It's spot on. So to Nelda and Farley, why didn't your boy, the one that got you to run for these for this races and wasn't able to give you the victory, why didn't he try to put you on the board? Farley got bad press real quick. There's no way there's no way Farley could run for politics ever again, because I just have to show the victim statement. And he's toast. I understand why maybe he didn't appoint Farley. He didn't nominate Farley. But Nelda, why didn't he nominate you, Nelda? Isn't this Carlos the guy you thought was going to get you to victory against Daniel Lopez Valdez? And also, Daniel Lopez Valdez, don't you remember who made you vice president? Erasmo Castro made you vice president. He could have selected anybody to be the vice president. And he chose you. And this is after y'all ran. And y'all had a little. But you know what? He said, let bygones be bygones. People were very shocked at this new Erasmo they had on the board because, hey, man, I'm willing to work for the citizens of Brownsville. Whatever happened, happened. Let's work together for the better good of the district. And Daniela Lopez Valdez now is considering giving Carlos Elizondo the board presidency, the majority, after Erasmo Castro gave you that spot. He could have placed Jessica. He could have placed Denise. He could have placed Frank as a vice president. He could have placed Minerva. But he picked you. You are spitting on the grave of my uncle, and I'm fucking pissed. I am livid. I don't appreciate that you're playing politics. I don't appreciate that you're trying to protect your dad and his empire, thinking that Carlos Elizondo is not going to run against him. Carlos Elizondo cannot be trusted. Carlos Elizondo will stab you in the back. He's known for that. He is known for that. And you're falling for it. Now, what we've been talking about Pedrito, about the web of corruption, is very real, man. This isn't no fantasy. This is real life stuff. Why? Because I got it from the top. How would I know that all this stuff was going on unless people were listening on calls, unless people were tapped in, unless people were informants and they're letting me know? So it's not coming from BISD. Pedrito stuff's not coming from the city commission. It's coming from the top. And I can't say much because if not, I'll get in trouble. I'm pissed. So Nelda, why isn't your boy nominating you? He's your boy. You're an educator. You should know what the struggles of employees go through. What was your platform about students and children? And wouldn't you be a great candidate? Why isn't Carlos nominating you? I don't know. Maybe you have a backbone, Elda. Maybe you say, you know what? I have principles. I have morals. Maybe. Maybe he couldn't control you. What about Susan for the Corrupt? Susan for the Corrupt, she placed her name on the application. She submitted an application. Oh, also Farley. Farley shouldn't even be considered. He can't even follow instructions. He didn't submit a resume, or he didn't complete the application on time. Pinche Farley is un tool. Like, oh my God. If they can't follow simple instructions and they want to be on the BISD board where the budget's $500 million with a B, and they can't follow simple instructions. You know what happens in graduate school? You know what happens in college? They'll get your paper and they'll shred it. And they say, you failed. You did not follow instructions. What about Susan for the Corrupt? Susan, isn't Carlos your boy? I talked about how he made a threat on my life in intermission at the school board meeting in public. You never called him out. You never said anything about him and Cindy knowing about the student-teacher relationship. You never called him out. Why? Because you're expecting for Carlos to run against Joey for Cameron County Precinct 2. You didn't say anything, Susan, but I thought you were for the people. Isn't this important information where a school board member, his character is being questioned by a concerned citizen? And he made a threat on his life in public? Why didn't you talk about it, Susan? Because you don't care. You're a fraud. You're not for the people. You know who you are? You're for the corrupt. That's your name. For the corrupt. Why didn't your boy nominate you, Susan? He could have gotten a second from Frank or Minerva. Why did he nominate you? We all know that's the reason why you stepped down as a Cameron County Republican treasurer, because you're embarrassed of being a red Republican, a diehard Republican, and you do not want people to know that you are affiliated with the Republican Party, even though everybody knows. But you thought, oh, no, I can't have the treasurer title under my belt because it's going to affect me in my election. I thought you were red through and through, Susan. Or is that just the show? Only whenever it's convenient for you, Susan. Is it? I want to know. Because you're telling people that, Frankie, ha, ha, ha. At least Frankie calls a spade. Call me what you want. But hey, if someone's corrupt, they're corrupt. I don't care if they're my friends. They're not my friends. I have no friends in this game. If you're not my three brothers, if you're not my mother, good luck, because we will tell the community what you're all about. I have no friends in this game. Who should be appointed to Erasmo's seat? Do the right thing. Follow the process. Elect someone that took the time to do what you asked of them. How are you in a right mind going to say, yes, I need this, but you know what? Never mind. Y'all spent too much time on applying, and don't worry about it. Trish Ann says, don't know why anyone cares. You all do know this is all for naught. You are not going to make a change. This last election only proves no one cares in Brownsville. Only you. You've presented what you call facts and receipts, but still people voted for the people you have spoken against. When you go to the meetings, it's only you and no one else in a city of 200,000 people showing their uproar for these allegations. So there is your proof, and it makes you wonder, is it worth it? I've been asked that a lot. Frankie, you're a one-man show. Well, with my production team and my sources and stuff that are behind the backgrounds. My team, I do have a team. But when we compare it to the likes of the city of Brownsville, to the likes of BISD, those entities are machines with unlimited resources that could tear me down. Hey, gentlemen, I'm going to be arrested. I'm going to be charged. I'm going to be accused of crazy things. They should appoint me. I'm Erasmo'S nephew. Didn't they nominate Sophie Benavides when Pete died? Didn't they? They should nominate me. If you're not going to go through the 25, if you're not going to pick the Martin Sarkis or Joe Rod's niece because y'all got spooked. Minerva got spooked when she saw that what we posted. She got spooked. If you're not going to appoint someone in the 25, appoint me. I'm his nephew. I'm filling his shoes. Nobody cares about what's going on. You know who's showing up? Me. That's who. You know who's fighting for this community? Me. That's who. People are laughing at me. Este vato que traes. No, we got a mic, doggy. This mic is very powerful. Imagine with limited resources, with 2 pennies in my pocket. Look at what we're doing. We're making a positive impact within our community. Imagine if we're able to be on the school board seat. Imagine what we can do. Nominate me, Daniela. I'm Erasmo Castro's nephew. I'm taking the reins. I'm fighting for this community. I will do what's right. I'm not corrupt. I don't take money from people. People think, oh, you're doing hitch jobs. I don't get paid for what I do. I will never, ever, ever get paid for covering corruption. Never, never, never. I wasn't paid by Daisy's camp. I wasn't paid by Rodrigo. I wasn't paid by people are making some crazy allegations. Oh, the commission, the mayor, this, that. I have not taken 1 penny. And I've told y'all I will never, ever take money from my citizens of Brownsville. The only thing that I will do is, I probably shouldn't say this right now, but yeah. There's a congressional race coming up that I have been asked to potentially take part. That I will work for it. I will work for it. That's the only money I will take. I've been asked to work county races, which we will. I've been asked to work JP races, which we will. I won't take a penny from them. I won't. But to me, the congressional race is the big league. Don't get me wrong. Cameron County JPs, they're up there. But Congress, going to Washington, that's the only race. That I will work for. And I will get paid for it. That's the only race. But hey, I'm being honest with you. So, Ms. Lopez Valdez, you have a very, very important task before you. Very important task. Do the right thing. You should appoint me, Frankie Olivo, who is carrying on the legacy of Erasmo Castro. I'm his nephew. What happened in Cameron County when Pete Benavides passed away? They appointed his wife, who is still, after 2 decades, still at Cameron County. I said it. Appoint me. I will do the right thing. I don't want a title. I don't want presidency. I'll do the right thing. Heck, if I'm the president, I'm the president. I'll come through for the city of Brownsville. I will fight for my citizens. I won't be corrupt. I won't be on the take. If people give me money, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it all back to my community. Friendship of Women, Big Heroes, the Good Neighbor Settlement Home downtown. There's the Asanam Center. There's organizations out there, social programs that really impact our community. I will give that money away. All of it away. Well, I'm only going to stay with $20. If I get donations from vendors, I will only keep $20 for a number 2 water size plain jar with cheese, Dr. Pepper Easy Ice, and a chocolate shake. That's the only thing I would keep my community. And I will show you receipts. I will show you all the money that I get and all the money that I give away. Because that's what politicians do. They give, they give, they give. They're not on the take, like Carlos. Ms. Daniela Lopez Valdez, you have a very, very important task before you. Your political career is on the line. You want to be rep. You want to possibly move into Cameron County. You want to get a position that pays legally. If you appoint Martin Sarkis, if you appoint Joe Rod's niece, your career, political career, you can kiss it goodbye. I humbly ask of you to appoint Frankie Olivo, Erasmo Castro's nephew, just how they did with Sophie Benavides when her late husband, rest his soul, passed away. The world is watching, Ms. Daniela Lopez Valdez. What will you do tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Good Morning Brownsville. My name is Frankie Olivo. Make sure you tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Good Morning Brownsville. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And if you're not at today's meeting, you're going to miss a doozy because all eyes and the world is watching. You know who's going to be Front Row Joe? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. No outro. Production team, no outro. Music, elevator music. Just good vibes, baby.